Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spinner. No, we're not at the Spinner Rack. We're at Comic Book Hero. It's actually the Comic Book Hero is here.
That's right. Ready to rock.
And you like the show, we got a couple others coming for you from Comic Book Hero, but we're back again, and we're going to talk about Marvel Comics #1. The original Marvel Comics #1 just sold for how much?
$1.3 million and some change.
So this is ultimately why, you know, when they heard Action Comics was selling so much, and Batman, Detective Comics 27 was selling for so much, and of course everyone's favorite Hulk 181 is selling for so much. This, I think, this ultimately is partially why there wasn't a turnover in the comic audience in the 80s. And comic, actually having the comic books being worth something. Can you talk to something about that? About the actual, the comics being worth so much kept this audience, longer than normally, because it used to be a turnover.
Well, let's start with the turnover first. Historically, leading up to it actually holds until about the 90s, up until Image, where Image just like, but we'll get to you guys later. But historically, the turnover was about every 4 years. Okay, you would get new readers. DC would get new readers about every 4 years. Marvel would get new readers about every 4 years. DC's age demographic was about 8 to 12. Marvel's demographic was about 10 to 14, that sort of stuff, maybe a little bit older. And every 4 years, these guys would turn over. Now, this meant that about every 15 years, they needed to reinvigorate stuff, both sides. Marvel a little bit less, because remember, they started in the 1960s. Okay. Then we get a little book called Watchmen. Okay, Watchmen shows, oh wow, there's an adult audience out there that we can actually get some money from. And DC went for it. Okay, DC went for it. Now Marvel was already kind of had their foot in there, because their story was already, gearing towards an older audience. Even if they're still kids, still gearing towards an older audience. DC would have the they would have the corner box. They would have the corner boxes, and in the corner box it would say, DC Comics are not just, not just for kids. What they really meant is DC Comics are no longer, for kids. So you're already tacking older. You're already tacking older, and a lot of guys were, collecting books, preserving them, because they were going and buying books and realizing, man, this. I think a good example was The Mighty Thor 337, first appearance of Beta Ray Bill. If you were fortunate enough to get it off the stands, what was that, 60 cents when it came out?
Yes.
It was 60 cents.
I had it in my hands.
Now, I myself, I didn't pick it up because I wasn't even reading Thor. I read my uncle's and I wanted to get my own. When I went to the store to go get my own, it was from 60 cents to like $7. Now I know I can hear all you people over there, oh wow, a whole $7. 60 cents to $7.
Yes.
Okay? That's the equivalent of when these books come out today at $4, and it's like a $30, $40 book within the space of a week. So, that's where I was at as a kid. So some guys had already been doing this and realized there was money to make.
Yeah.
You could spend 50 cents, make $10, which was an incredibly good markup at that time. Still would be a good markup today at the end of it. Then we get two things. We get Wizard and we get Image. Image comes out. And Image has all of these rock star artists, Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, Rob Liefeld.
Why do you say it like that, though?
You know why.
Don't keep
okay.
going. Don't forget Jim Valentino. Okay, no, I understand why you did. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so
talent. He's still Jim Valentino is definitely talent. Sorry.
Definitely. So these guys come out, and they're over there with Image, and all these comic guys go nuts because they're like, this is like the second coming of Marvel. Okay, this is everything that I missed out in. Marvel finds. Everybody collects. You get all these books, and Spawn #1 sold like 1.8 million copies or something of that nature. Which is great for Spawn. Bad for you if you're a collector, because one of the reasons why those earlier books are so valuable is because there's really not a lot of them out there. And those that are out there, the ones that are in really good condition, are hard ones to find. Mind you, if there are 5,000 copies of Amazing Fantasy #15, that's a lot. Okay, that's a lot. And I'll tell you right now, there aren't 5,000 copies of that book out there. When it came out, it was a low print run book. They were fighting for shelf space. It just, just a whole bunch of different dynamics at the end of the day. Two, you get Wizard Magazine. Now, historically, comic guys thought that there was a lot of value in comics. You know, like, oh, these things are going to be worth money, this. And, you know, if you were a stamp collector or a coin collector or baseball card collector, you used to look at the comic guys like, ha, 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 you idiot loser. Your books are never going to be worth anything. A bunch of little funny paper and such. Wizard Magazine, okay, was instrumental in changing the way that comic books were collected. Wizard said, hey, we need to collect these things like the way that guys collect baseball cards. Forget all these stories and all this other type of stuff. That's why it's very rare that you see a storyline worth a lot of money. Like one of the only ones that comes to money is Uncanny X-Men 140, 142, The Days of Future Past. That's worth money strictly because it's a seminal story. But other than that, first appearance, classic cover, and that goes straight with the baseball cards. The rookie card, first appearance, okay? The special card, variant, the variant cover. And that's how these guys said, this is how you need to go about collecting, okay? They treated it like it was stock. Okay, you would see how Wizard did it in the back of the magazines. They had the price guide. They would show you this. And then grading came in. Sweet grace. You would see, okay, this is how much you get for your book. Okay, in good condition, $10. But if you grade it, so now a third party has established that this book is a 9.8, it goes from $10 to $250. Totally changed how the whole dynamic was. Okay, but it also priced comics away for a lot of people who might have been interested in getting in. So for someone like me who's been a lifelong reader, great. I've got books that, were 60 cents. I want to make some money. I can literally go back through some of my collection. I'm tired. I don't want this one anymore. Let me go grade this and see what I can get for it. If you're just coming in, however, you're looking at prices of a $4 book, okay, or a key book, $50. I remember I was doing a con, and it was the first appearance of Ra's al Ghul. Was it Batman 252? Okay. And this kid comes over and he's like, how much is the book? It's like $300. And he's like, how much is this one? Wants all the key books. And I'm like, is this guy for real? Because are you expecting to come here and get this book, for $10 or something? Yeah, this is like, maybe you could have done that 20 years ago. Okay, but you couldn't have even done that 10 years ago.
Yeah,
it's real. The prices are there, and again, it's because you do have guys who have stayed with it. You have collectors who are older, so they have jobs. They have full-time jobs. They can afford to splurge on a big book. They're trying to finish a collection, and they need that one book over there, and they're willing to pay $200 or $300, or in some cases $1,000 to have a prime key book at the end of the day. It makes their collection, worth something. We lost all the kids.
Yes.
Okay. And the turnover is, you don't have the same amount of turnover, but what Marvel and DC do now is they fight for the same readers. DC will get a whole bunch of Marvel readers by saying, hey, we're going to get rid of Superman is no longer going to be Clark Kent. It's going to be this guy. Batman is going to be this guy, and he's going to be black. Wonder Woman is going to be a transgender. And then all these guys will come in and like, what? Because they don't care about Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, or Diana Prince. They don't care about those guys. But they'll come in to see some replacements. Oh, let's see what this is. And then they'll always say the same thing. This is great. I love this stuff right over here. And then as soon as Clark Kent comes back, they're like, oh, I can't touch this anymore. I got to go back to, I got to go give that to Marvel. So they've been trading, they've been fighting and trading for the same readers. But, a lot of the people don't come back in. But long-winded answer to get to it, that's how we get to $1.3 million for this book. Because to be quite honest, Marvel Comics #1, yes, this is a key book. It has the first appearance of the Human Torch, who, even though he appears here, is a minor character overall. And the first appearance of the Submariner, Namor, who is a major character who's been treated horribly the last few years. What is your problem with Namor? Every time I look, he's flooding the city. Anyway, but it's got those two major characters. You would think it would be worth, but no, this is just now. Yeah. Okay, this is just now. Okay, what are the books that Marvel would read? I mean, even the early Captain America comics, are not looked after, with the same, breadth of, it's Amazing Fantasy 15, Spider-Man #1, Fantastic Four #1, and then you can spread it out amongst some of those other early advents with the coming of the Marvel Universe proper. Marvel Comics itself is a comic. That's the name of the comic. This was this Timely?
It was Timely at that point.
This is Timely Comics. That was the name of the publisher at the time. Same thing with National was the publisher, and DC Comics was actually Detective, and things change as time goes on. But it just wasn't that popular or that looked after a book. But you give a few years of some real successful movies, there you go.